Welcome to the CrystalConf stream. I have some guests here. We're going to be going over some of the events and some of the talks and things like that at CrystalConf. Please welcome me in joining with Martin. We're going to kick it off with you. Can you tell us who you are? How did you get into Crystal? I mean, realize that it might be a little bit different story than other people on the panel here. And what are you doing for the conference? Like, if people were to find you, like, how would they find you at the conference?
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Martin. I am the marketing and communications lead at Manastech, and for the time being, officiating the same role for the Crystal core team until we find a community manager, which we are very much looking for. So you can sign off and leave your data there for us to contact you. And during the conference, I will be doing some of the moderation, some of the background, running around and getting things for everybody. You can find me on Discord. You can find me through the crystal@manastech email. Sometimes on Twitter. You will find me. You will eventually run into me.
Nice. You're the Robin to the Batman of the conference.
Yes, and Batman being my friend Lorenzo here, who's going to introduce himself next.
All right. Well, on that note, Lorenzo, would you like to introduce yourself, who you are, how'd you get into Crystal, and what you're going to be doing for the conference? Will you be wearing a Batman outfit?
Yeah, no Batman outfit. I'm Lorenzo. I've been lucky enough to to play with Crystal and talk about Crystal over streams and YouTube videos for the past 1.5 years, almost a couple of years. And I was very happy to organize the Raw Crystal conference last year, which was pretty amazing. And so glad to also be on this organization panel. I will be supporting the actual smooth running of the operations on the day of the conference, and probably I'll be doing a lot of Discord pinging and chatting. We'll see.
Awesome. And we have some new faces from our last stream. Beta, would you like to kick us off and tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got in Crystal, if you want to get into that, and then what you'll be doing at the conference?
All right. So, hi everyone. I'm Beta, or Beta. I'm team leader at Manastech. I'm also taking care of the development of Crystal. I will give a talk just after Matt.
No pressure.
No pressure. No. And I will also be part of the team running the conference. And you'll see me hopefully in the forum, Twitter, any channel. And I got into Crystal in 2 times in history. First, at the very beginning of Crystal, when I, sincerely speaking, had no hopes for the language. And I voiced this to Ari and the creators. And then I left to work in academia. And during that period, Crystal just boom, exploded. And I said, okay, I was wrong. I really like to be proved wrong, because I can learn things that way. And I got in contact with Brian. So he was explaining me different things about the type checker and all the nice things of Crystal. And that really was a hook to me to get into studying the language. And then finally, I took the position of team lead at Manas, and decided that leading the development of Crystal was the right thing for me.
That's awesome. That's such a cool story. I'm glad you're back in the language. Would you want to give us a little bit of a teaser on what your talk's going to be about?
Yes. Basically, I'm going to talk about what has been going on in the past few months since I got here. And also, I will speak mostly about where we are heading, where we are putting our eggs, to say it, in which baskets we're putting our eggs. So that's the main thing.
That's all. I can't wait to hear where that's going to go, because I'm
By the
really
way,
interested in the future development. Yeah.
As a teaser also for the talk, the talk is going to be short, actually. Just focus on this be very brief and to the point. And then we're going to have some time for questions. So there will be this ask me anything kind of thing afterwards. So if you want to know what's going to happen, or if you have questions about Crystal and the development of Crystal, that's the right place to place them.
That's for anyone listening and wanting to know where they can ask a core team member about the future of Crystal. Please attend the second talk of the conference right at the beginning. Make sure you get there early enough.
Yeah,
So.
I hope we have the rest of the team to answer them, because I don't want to be the only one.
Speak for all of them. Okay, cool. And then lastly, Johannes, would you like to share a little bit about who you are, how you got into Crystal, and what you're going to be doing at the conference if someone spots you on one of the channels?
Yeah, well, I'll of course be there, Beta, if there are questions to help answer them. Yeah, so I know I'm Johannes. Maybe you know me on GitHub as a straight shooter. Been working with the core team for 2 or 3 years. I'm not even sure anymore. And I've joined Manas to work on Crystal in like about 4 months ago. So I'm happy to work with Beta on Crystal every day. It's a really fun endeavor.
Yeah, it's amazing to work with straight shooter with Johannes.
Can I ask you guys what your morning routine looks like? Well, considering the fact that you're in 2 different time zones but you still have some sort of stand up, I guess. What is the structure of the day for you?
You want to take this one, or
Yes.
should I?
It's not very structured.
But your morning starts first, right?
Yeah. So I usually start. Sometimes Beta starts before me. That's when I'm late. No, but I mean we usually like try to sync with a video call, but only every once a week. And otherwise we're talking on Slack, and of course the usual channels like the forum and on GitHub.
Yeah, we have many ways of ways of communicating, like with different. So sometimes we speak just on one channel, and then with the core team and the forum and whatnot. It's kind of crazy. Sometimes you have to figure out what. So I know I mentioned this to Johannes. Where was it?
Yeah.
And you have to check all these channels.
There are a lot of channels. It feels like Crystal, as it's matured and gotten older, a lot more conversations have moved publicly. I think that there have been issues in the past in the Crystal like issue tracker where it seemed like there were some things that had happened kind of off the issue tracker. But do most communications regarding the language, regarding the design, regarding features, things like that, do those happen on the issue tracker, or is there still kind of a Slack that most of the core team mostly communicates on?
So we do have a corner for the core teams. We have a couple of channels, but those are mostly for like we need to solve something quickly, and we just drop it there. When it comes to discussing issues and things like that, mostly happens on the open. And this is something that was already, I think Brian already was aware of this. It was good to have these things in the open. And I kind of inherited that, and I wanted to follow on that, trying to be transparent on most of the decisions. This is an important aspect for us.
I think all the on-topic discussions are usually held in public, but of course we have, like when we have a core team meeting, we talk about stuff, and sometimes it's just okay, we have several options and we need a decision. It doesn't help, and so we just make the decision some way and then try to communicate that. And
right. Let me give you an example today. So we are closing a new release now, the 1.10, and we are also making release for shards. And we have to discuss when to close and say, okay, we are going to put only all these PRs, right? when there is no contention, given that we are now in the deadline of the new release, if there are no contentions, we just push those PRs still in this new release. But if there's one PR that there's some question, we do not agree on something, we say, okay, let's push that for the next one.
Yep. That's awesome to hear. I think it really comes across in the community. I think a lot of things feel like they're in the open. I think it's pretty cool to see how it works. And talking about the 1.1 release, I would say that this conference specifically be the first. Well, it's the second conference, but it's the first conference to really showcase the 1.0 of Crystal. Do we have any? We have a few talks that are about 1.0, right? Is there any that we can promote here? You're going to be talking about the future of language beta. Yeah, I mean that's the big one, right? Beta's doing one. There's a Ruby to Crystal talk. There's a few other ones. So I would say if people want to see more about 1.0, Crystal Conf is a great place to come. Also, I guess I'll call on Lorenzo. Kind of what skill levels and what accessibility is the conference for? Is there a good mix, and where can people go if they want to maybe see like higher level stuff?
Yeah, so I think there's a great mix of talks for all the levels. When selecting the talks and thinking about the tracks, we put special attention to the idea that there were enough talks to actually make everyone happy, no matter if they're experienced Crystal engineers or just sort of looking into the language for the first time. And so it's going to be fairly easy to identify introductory talks around the language, and then also industry talks, so talks from people that have been working with the language for a while and can actually give insight to people that are maybe on a bit further ahead in the journey of adoption of Crystal in their company or the company they work for. And I think something interesting is we've actually highlighted the getting started talks on the conference program. So if people browse to crystal-lang.org/conference, they will be able to look at the agenda for the conference. And if you just look for the getting started label, you will find a few talks that actually have that, and those are the ones that actually will support you in maybe thinking about Crystal from the lens of a Ruby developer or similar languages. And then on the other hand, for people that are more into the nitty-gritty details of the language itself, we also have thought about a language tag, so that if you want to know more about macros or about the dynamic aspects of Crystal, or even the future of Crystal and new features, that's what you definitely want to check out.
I am excited for the language tag. I'm also excited for the performance tag. I wish there was more talk, so it's got a little bit slimmed down, but I'm a fan of that tag. Martin, do you want us to give us a little bit of a color or history? How in the world did we come to the tags that we have now? There's a pretty wide selection of talks submitted.
Yeah, there was a lot of spectrum, a lot of ground to cover, and at first it was kind of difficult. I think this would have been much easier if we could all just been in a room with a bunch of Post-its, but we had to kind of get around that. Plus, it allowed us to collaborate throughout the world. Like we're all based in different places. But yeah, it was a lot of work of filtering and moving things around. And also we have a very wide variety of people from different places in the world. So we have like Mats joining from Japan and people joining from the West Coast in the US. So we have a very large range of time zones that we also had to accommodate and take into account when putting together the agenda. And so it was like a massive crossing of time zones and themes and like audiences and levels of people's involvement in Crystal. So it was challenging, but it was also fun. It took some work. Yeah,
for sure. It was very fun. It was I have a few different questions, but I guess I'll jump to beta. What have you ever done a remote conference before? What do you think about kind of Crystal Conf going remote? And is there something that you're expecting for the conference?
Well, remote conferences are hard, right? So when the pandemic broke in and all the conferences moved to virtual, so I attended many of them, but at the same time, as a father of two kids, my attention was very limited. So it was more like, oh, now I have 30 minutes. Let's see what talk are they playing, and if there was an intersection with my own interest, I would watch that talk. Otherwise, I would just miss it. So from usually in a conference, I will watch many talks, like if not all, at least all of a great number of talks. But with virtuality, that's harder to get. At least when you're a father in your house with your kids, right? That said, virtuality. So after 1 year and something of virtuality, we learned how to deal with this stuff in a sense as humans. I mean, it's easier to be engaged in a video. Someone's talking and thinking of the questions that you want to ask to that person and try to write that down. So it has this nice feeling of you get connected with many people around the globe, and you can make questions to people that you want. For instance, I don't know if we're going to have some time for Mats to answer questions, but that would be great, right?
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So opportunities now that we have virtuality, we have different talks on different topics, and you can watch this, and you can expand a lot. Sometimes conferences, when they are not virtual, they have to. So you have to move the people around, and that's places a limit on how you can do, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that it provides a lot of flexibility. It's going to be awesome. I think we're going to, I think we're only going to kind of grow in our remote conference ability. So it's going to be super fun. And Johannes, I'm not sure if you saw the first video, but you're going to get Martin's question or one of Martin's questions from last video, which is when is the conference and where can people get tickets?
Okay, let's hope I say the same things as Martin. So the conference is on July the 8th. It starts at, I think, 10:30 UTC.
12:30 UTC.
At 12:30 UTC, yeah. Right. Good we have you. So, and it goes for like a planned 7 hours. Yeah, and you can get the tickets at crystallang.org/conference, and there's a link to the Eventbrite page where you can buy your tickets.
Awesome. Yep. If you haven't gotten time off of work and you want to come, make sure that you have a sick day. We'd love to see people there, and we will endorse taking a personal day, not a sick day, to come to CrystalConf.
Even better, get your employer to pay for the conference.
Yeah.
And send as many people as possible.
Yep. Yeah. I've been posting about the conference in some Ruby and Python rooms, and I'm hoping we'll get some people from different communities. But yeah, ask your employer to pay for the conference.
There's also a slogan we could use, which is get rid of your Ruby monolith with style. Come to CrystalConf. Because I think that's where most of the world are in terms of web applications at the moment. So that you're talking to at least 40% of the engineers in the world.
Yep. Oh man, the monolith. So talking about conference topics, what the schedule is released now. Where can people find the schedule? We'll go with Martin.
That's at crystal-lang.org/conference. We have all the updated data there and some very nice but very small pictures of the speakers. So it's going to be we are now transferring to the audience the hard task that we had arranging those speakers to picking. Now people have to choose what are they going to see and when, because it's a very wide offer.
Yep. And for those who are wondering, because I was wondering, if you go to that page, that time is actually in your local time. So it's really nice because this is basically an international conference, and we're doing a lot of things in UTC and talking in UTC. If you go to the conference page, even if you're wondering when it will start on the 8th, it will tell you in your local time, which is great for trying to schedule out either if you have to mix between the conference and something else, or if you want to make sure you make a certain talk, switch over from one track to another. So it's pretty cool. Now, Johannes, did you do work to put this agenda up? I'm sorry, I haven't asked yet. I thought I saw some PRs. Do you want to tell us a little bit about putting the agenda up?
Do you mean like the putting it together, or like the presentation on the website?
Yeah, both. I mean, was there anything interesting about trying to get this converted and put on the web? I know that there was a little bit of work behind the time zone stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that because what you already said, it's just like so much or so nice a feature for usability that you don't have to do the math in your head to see, oh, what time is it for me? So we put that in, but that's actually not that hard, because there's a simple JavaScript API which just gives you the time, and then it was like maybe a little bit more work, like to know what exactly is the time zone offset at your location to show that, because it doesn't help if you just show, okay, this is for me, it's 14:30 the welcome starting thing. If it just says 14:30, then you don't know, is that my time, or is that UTC, or is it whatever Argentinian time? So we put the small UTC plus minus offset thing below the actual time to make sure you get that.
Yeah. Lorenzo, are you in UTC 0? Are you in the
I'm in UTC +1.
Close.
Because of the British summertime that we are enjoying at the moment. There's nothing summery about the British summertime usually, but I have to say we can't complain this year.
Well, the rain is a little bit warmer, right?
Yeah, correct. That describes it very well.
It rains in the dark a little bit less. So we kind of chatted about doing a game. I don't know if we've fully announced it yet. We're going to have some questions. Johannes, do you have any questions that you wanna kind of tease for what might be going on for the game on the 8th?
Well, I'm not sure if you should talk about the questions.
Yeah, that's probably true. Are you excited for the game at least?
Yes, I mean, I'm not yet entirely sure we have everything figured out, but I think we will get there, and I think it's gonna be a really nice thing. Yeah.
So let's be conservative on on announcing this, right? So there might be a game. There might be questions.
Hopefully I said might. I thought I said. Hopefully I said. I said might. So there might be a game. There might be some questions for those who come live to the conference. You'll get a little bit of fun. There's also some other things for people who come live. We're gonna have, I believe, channels set up per track, right? Maybe Lorenzo, do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So we're thinking about how we can make it so that the conversation can keep on running between talks you're going to be watching, so that we can recreate the good parts of the hallway conversations that some people dread and some people love at conferences. But there's this saying that says that the best part of conferences is what happens in the hallway. So we're just going to take the good parts of the hallway.
That's not true, The best part is what happened in the bar.
Also true. We can't really reproduce the bar, but we will try to get as close as possible to the hallway experience without the quirkiness and the awkwardness of having to leave a conversation that you don't want to be in. So you can just drop out of a Discord voice channel. No one is going to complain or notice.
So if you want the hallway experience, join the Discord. If you want the bar experience, bring a drink and join the Discord, right?
Exactly. And I think in terms of we are set on the Crystal Programming Discord. Is that correct? Martin will know more if we've made that commitment. Or actually, Johannes, you were talking to the admin of the server.
Yes, we're using the Crystal Discord. with like separate rooms for that. We already have one room with the speakers where we coordinate all the organization stuff. I think that's gonna work really well. And I mean, we use Discord for the Raw Crystal conference, and I think it's really nice because you just can get there and you can like enter a discussion with like audio, video, whatever you want, and that creates possibilities that you don't get when you just have some kind of chat or question and answer thing.
Yeah,
Very
also
good.
people are kind of like very used to this multimedia capacity of audio and text and sending GIFs and sending pictures, and I think that provides an extra level of richness to the.
Give him thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope there's
So
a
that-
clap in there. It's gonna be pretty interesting as how people use Discord. There were some fun chats during Raw Crystal, especially post conference, just chilling in there and talking about stuff. It's probably a good thing, but it's kind of a sad thing to think it wasn't recorded because there were some fun discussions. Yeah, and there's gonna be Beta. Do you know anything about the workshop that's gonna be going on? There's a multi-hour workshop, right?
Yes, yes. Actually, that's the problem with the conference. I really want to watch all of them. I'm serious about it. So the workshop is by Bar Hofesh. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's a workshop on
And Oliver Moradov.
Sorry.
And Oliver Moradov. They're both going to be teaching the workshop.
Nice.
Right. Okay. So it's about security in Crystal. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun workshop to probably for people. I don't know if they're going to go a bit slow first. So for people that are not really into Crystal to catch up, but it's for people that are already Crystallers. That's a really nice workshop to attend.
Yep. I am bummed that I probably won't be able to go to that workshop because I will definitely watch the video, but I would love to stop and ask questions or be there. If that is another thing about attending the conference as opposed to watching the videos is things like the workshop, or you have a good interactive portion and you're going to want to be around to get the most value out of it, which fortunately I'll be busy, but I'm definitely going to go back and watch it. I'd love to cover some of the talks, but Lorenzo, if someone wants to find more information about the conference, when it is and how to get a ticket, where would they go?
So I would recommend you go to crystal-lang.org/conference, and you're going to find all the information you need there. And there's a link to get your tickets. And it says at the very top that the conference is on the 8th of July, 2021, and it starts at 12:30 p.m. UTC time.
Nice. So awesome for those who are watching either YouTube or hopefully this will go up on a podcast. We'd love to have you, and we're gonna try to give you that in case you've heard of something you like or enjoy, and all of a sudden want to take a pause and go get a ticket. Please do come back though. Yeah. So talking about some of the talks, we're kicking it off with Mats, which is kind of crazy. Mats has now given a little bit about what he's going to talk about, right?
He has actually kept a pretty tight mystery around his talk, but the way the conversation with him went was around we both faced the same challenges in starting a language, building our community around it. And so, we have a lot of things in common. We're literally standing on the shoulders of Mats and the Ruby community. So I think it will be probably going around those topics about how a language goes from inception to maturity. So yeah, that would be what I would expect from Mats' talk.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what he says. Talking about the shoulders of giants, it seems to be a little bit of a theme that we've seen a few times through talks and other things like that. I know Steven is giving a talk on embracing Ruby and building on the shoulders of giants. I'm kind of excited for the getting started talks. I feel like I've kind of gotten started in Crystal already, but it's always interesting to. I constantly have to try to sell Crystal too. So even if I'm not new to Crystal, trying to learn certain things, it is great to see what people are talking about for like the biggest benefits and how to move on to the platform. Does anyone here have a favorite or a talk that they're looking forward to the most in the getting started track?
I think a very interesting one is by Gabor Jabo. I also hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He has like a 25-year run as a developer. He comes from Perl. And he's like, he has like 15 years working in Perl, or 25 years in Perl, 10 years in Python, and 30 days in Crystal. So he's going to talk about his first month going from zero to website using Crystal, knowing nothing about language, like zero background. So I think that's going to be very inspiring for people looking to get into it.
That is super cool. That's yeah. I mean, that is a great getting started talk because it's not even Ruby, but Ruby does bring a lot of things over from Perl. There's kind of kind of pivoting on the Perl stuff. Beta, you worked a little bit with different language communities, right? Can you tell us a little bit about bringing people in from different language communities, kind of how it fits, and what if people are interested, kind of what to expect?
So, for instance, in the conference, we have two talks that are from different communities. One is the Wyvern programming language, and the other one is the Pharo programming language. That's the nice thing, right? So when you get input from different languages, so right now, every language has a lot of features that are taken from different places. So it's really great to interact with other communities so you can learn how they solve certain problems and whether you can take the same ideas into your own. So I moved from different communities. I did Java development for a lot of time. Previous to that, Visual Basic, but I don't want to say that very loudly. Then Ruby, and then I moved into functional programming languages like OCaml, for instance, and Haskell. So I have this experience of a lot of languages. You see all this, right? So you see the different features of the different languages and how they play together and how they are transferred from one language to the other. Like, I really like one of the talks that Ari gave, I think at Chicago actually, about the methods. One of the aspects of Crystal and of Ruby that is so special is how they work with methods, how you can do method calls, which is something that you do all the time when you're programming, right? You are all the time calling methods from one object to another, and improving on that, the experience of being able to do that makes a lot of improvement in the life of a developer. So that idea that comes from Ruby, was something great that Crystal took as one of the main features to have. I think this is great. I don't know if I answered your question. Sorry, I think I went to different topics.
I hope people will at least get the gist of what to expect. There's this really fun talk here, as you were talking, it reminded me of it, that Ari gave at Chicago Crystal, I don't even know, 2-3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, maybe it was less than that, about all this work they had done around methods and about it was like multi-dispatch and like how reordering variables and all like the reordering variables and all the considerations around like parameter inputs and types and all that kind of stuff. It was really interesting. I'll have to try to post it in the comments of this video if I can find it again. But yeah, the making methods behave as expected and getting them to be as user-friendly as possible. It seems like a very large technical lift, but it's one that's happened in Crystal and makes it pretty cool. I I remember there's like this fun blog post about name parameters where it was like the whole blog post. It's like trying to describe why they're good. And in the end, like the API was like, this isn't the API you expected. This is how you're actually supposed to call it. I'm not sure if we can find any of those old blog posts, but there's some really good. I mean, a lot of work, a lot of thought has gone into that. So it's pretty cool. I'm interested in kind of where different programming languages have diverged and done their own thing. So I can't wait to hear some of those talks. Hopefully they talk about methods. Maybe they won't. There's a fair bit of ecosystem talks too. Like I know that Kingsley is going to talk about blockchain, and they've renamed their blockchain. It used to be called Sushi Coin, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
Yeah.
Sushi Chain.
Now it's called
Sushi Coin?
Sushi Chain.
Sushi Chain. Yeah.
And now it's called Accentro.
That's right. I still pull up their repo because they have some of the best examples of how to integrate a C library. I still have to go look at their what directory do they put their make script in, what directory, how do they do all that stuff. So they have a lot of really good code out there. I've used it as reference code more than once. I can't wait to see. They definitely add some value to the ecosystem. Does anyone else have an ecosystem talk that they're looking forward to seeing?
There's one around native GUI development, which I'm looking forward to. I've interacted with Georgi, who's the speaker, a few times, mostly as a consumer of the messages he posts on the forum. He's very, very active, I think, in the community. And he's also involved with some of the most popular open source projects around Crystal. And so to hear him speaking about something that is a bit of a niche because it's around native GUI development, which is not exactly hot as a topic right now with all the web stuff that is going on, but still is definitely solving someone's problem, right? And to actually see that being explored and tackled in Crystal is really exciting.
Me too. I love those talks, things I don't work in every day. I think it's really good to kind of expand your horizons and see what else is going on in different parts of the programming ecosystem. So I mean, as we're selecting talks, I definitely try to give a thumbs up to the GUI ones or things that I hadn't seen or that I don't see on a day-to-day basis. One of my favorite titles of a talk, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Martin had kind of filled me in last time, and I forget exactly why it's titled this, the Chipmunks and Unicorns. Why is that in the ecosystem talk?
That's by Jeremy Wharton. I think Johannes has more information because he actually talked with him. But it's a kind of interesting talk for me personally because I am a communicator, and my job basically is about translating things and helping people speak on the same terms. And Jeremy's talk is about that, is how when you get to an ecosystem that is kind of thriving and there's a community around, people are used to speaking in certain terms, and they know the meanings and they know all the translations. So it's kind of hard to get up to speed. And so he will be talking about how to rethink that onboarding of people into a community. I think that's going to be an interesting one.
Awesome.
It's a very low tech, so that's pretty accessible for everyone.
I'm pretty excited about that. I didn't really realize I forgot again kind of what it is, but that hopefully after you hear the talk, it'll really stick with me. Another one that's kind of like half ecosystem, and I think this is on the scientific track, is the machine learning. Does anyone know about the machine learning talk by Todd? And I think there's been a fair bit of building up and development in that. Has there been any really big changes that are going to be kind of shared in that talk?
I think this is mostly about showcasing the power of building a Crystal API to a C library like MXNet. That's going to be lovely. I think I've worked with Todd on open source projects that Todd owns a while back, and I've enjoyed the interactions very much. So I was actually the one prompting him to try and submit the talk because I know that he's working around the space of data visualization and also machine learning with deep learning in particular with MXNet. And so I thought it was a good idea to actually get someone to promote the use of the language for something as en vogue and popular as deep learning nowadays.
That's super awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that, but I can't wait to hear most of them. So that's pretty cool. And there's some other scientific talks. Beta, were you working with some of the scientific community to try to onboard some of the scientific talks? Is there one specifically that you're interested in, or one that you can think of?
Well, I can, yeah, it's really hard to pick one. So I would probably go with Saving Life with Crystal. Well, this is it's in industry.
Yeah, it's in the industry one.
And we can jump, but
yeah,
I wanted to
that's
mention,
fine.
can I give a shout to Romain as well? So Romain is doing crafting simulations in Crystal. And again, this has been a bit of my, like, one of my fixations a few months ago. I was really into discrete event simulation, so much that I was recording videos and doing demos at my own, in my own desk. And it was a time where I was a bit bothered by the fact that in the industry, we often hear people talking about Little's law. Little's law is a law that describes the time requests spent in a system, assuming certain conditions of stability of traffic. And it looks like very, very simple. And what happens often in engineering is that we take things that are a bit mathematical or come from theoretical informatics and then apply them to things where preconditions are actually not met. And Little's law is one of those examples where sometimes you hear people talking about Little's law and they make things sound very, very simple. They are not at all, right? Because we deal with spiky traffic, so there's nothing stable. And actually, we are interested in knowing how our system performs when things go wrong rather than under stable traffic. And so I find discrete event simulation is one of those ways we have to actually get an idea, get a feel for how the system will be performing at load, or in scenarios where traffic is changing a lot. And that's why I got interested in the topic. As I was doing that, looking for what was available in the Crystal ecosystem, I spotted a particular shard that Romain had worked on. And Romain actually, I think, studies and works in that space of discrete event simulation. So for me, it was a passion project. For him, it's actually something he's very much an expert in. And so, again, great opportunity to listen from someone who's got a very deep knowledge of that particular domain and has chosen Crystal as the weapon of choice for this.
Well, I think there is so that's a good point. Crystal for scientific community sounds like a really good language. I hope that we can see more of talks in the scientific label. One of the talks, for instance, is by Leandro, on bioinformatics, where you can see that Crystal there in bioinformatics had to work. I mean, for the type of language it is, and the performance that you get. So this is one talk I'm really looking into. Forward into.
That sounds awesome. I did not know as much before, but now I really want to watch that one too. Yeah,
there's also
cool.
in that same line, there's a talk by Casey Erb, who is all around a very great speaker and a very interesting person to hear from, and he will be talking about just exactly what Beta was saying. Like Crystal is really a good fit for the sciences, and so he's going to try to showcase how all the other features of the language are really something that the science community is missing on and should be jumping on board. So that's also a very interesting one for the scientific community.
I thought Crystal, coming from the web development community, was just such a great fit, and it does make sense it would fit in the scientific community because it does fill a lot of holes that I see in the web community. But it's really cool to hear that it is such a good fit. I'm curious how that community would respond to new languages and stuff like that. Hopefully, we get some feedback after the conference and we get some really good speakers speaking about scientific topics, and technical topics, like specifically programming technical topics. Because as they discover it and share it, then it's easier to know what problems and what holes it fills. So. it's super cool. I like the fact that more and more scientific community and other languages are starting to do talks at Crystal Conf and also a little bit, I think, in Raw Crystal. So I think we haven't talked about one topic yet, which is the performance. I really wish there was more in this topic. I think there's so much to be said about Crystal and performance, but Nicholas is doing the performance evaluation talk. I am excited to see what comes of that. I actually don't really know what work he's done and haven't spoken with him yet, so it's all going to be a surprise to me. But I know that there's been comparisons to Crystal to most commonly Ruby, but also with concurrency and other things. People have compared it to Go and Rust and C++ and a few other languages. So I'm really interested to see kind of maybe not stacked up against other languages, but just in general what he comes up with performance. We actually haven't talked too much about the industry. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, so performance is something that is, in a sense, it's going to be covered, I guess, in other talks too, like, for instance, the bioinformatics one. But I want to say that for performance, the talk about using the IOU ring by Guillaume, sorry, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Guillermo, I guess.
Yeah.
That's also a talk I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, please.
There's a second talk. I think that's the one you're talking about, the reaching 2,000 requests on a single core.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I missed that. That's going to be fun.
Yes. So this is platform specific in a sense because it's just for Linux from certain kernel upwards, but it can be really fun to watch how you can squeeze a bit more of the performance using the operating system's facilities.
Yeah, that is super interesting. And it is like there was a separate shard for it or separate library for it. And then it got a like draft kind of monolith pull request and then broken up into small pull requests, if I'm not mistaken. And I learned a lot about, I think it's called IOU ring. I've never actually heard it spoken of, but got to read a lot about kind of stuff. And it's pretty interesting. And my understanding is Crystal is not yet utilizing the full advantages of it. Like it's doubles the speed of some things, but it's not like there's some things because of the API design that we're not going to be adopting. Is that right? I guess if you want to know, you should come watch the talk. We'll not spill the beans, but
it's not yet like integrated into the Crystal standard library. But we're talking about how to do that because currently it's like that there's only a single event IO thing implementation per platform. But with IOU ring, we essentially need two for Linux because we need also maybe at least for a while the old lib event based one to run on older kernels and to have a fallback until IOU ring is really working well.
awesome.
So there's gonna needs be we need some refactoring on the API side internal APIs.
Yeah.
But so it needs to change before we can really integrate that into the standard library.
That is going to be so awesome, and I really recommend people come and watch that talk. I mean, I know there might be other talks at that time, but I think it's one of the cooler things going on in the Crystal like compiler core language right now. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things going on, but this is it's something that I learned a lot. It's going to be I think good for Crystal, and so it's one of those things that if you're interested, I'd check out the pull requests and then also come join the talk because it's going to be fun to learn about something new happening in the Linux kernel and the language and what it means for performance. And there's a lot of IO based kind of stuff going on in Crystal kind of communities and projects, so it could be pretty impactful. It's pretty cool. I think the last thing that we kind of covered a little bit, but not as much, is the industry. I think we talked about saving lives with Crystal, which is pretty cool that people are doing that. But also, I believe his name's Isaac, is going to be coming from Nikola. And Nikola was one of the first large companies that I'm aware of that really openly adopted Crystal. I know there were some companies before that were maybe like a little bit smaller. I'm not sure if that's just my impression. I have tried to talk with Isaac a few times on a podcast and have been unsuccessful. But does anyone know? I think he has something very specific for his talk. Does anyone know more about Isaac's talk?
So I do know some more because I talked to him. Sometimes they have some issue and have to fix it or help them fix them. So I know that they do very low level message passing, and they need to take into consideration bits of information and that are coming from the messages. And but basically, it's, in a sense, to put it more into a high level, it's a talk about how to squeeze the information so you can fit in very few bytes, like old school kind of thing, but now in Crystal, and how you take advantage of the Crystal facilities for that.
And to give people an example, if the word bitfield doesn't sound familiar, I stumbled upon the concept when I was programming a BitTorrent client in Crystal. Because in the BitTorrent protocol, bitfield are used to encode which pieces of a file are owned by a particular peer. So if I have a movie .avi file in my computer, and I'm actually downloading it from a peer, I will let the peer know that I have a set of pieces that go from piece 1 to piece 1000 and whatever, and I will represent that information in a bit field, which is basically an array that is as long as the number of pieces, where I have a 1 if I have the piece and a 0 if I don't have the piece. And so with a very compact representation, I can let someone know which pieces of the file I own and which ones I don't. So that was how I stumbled upon it. And then in more recent times, when looking at how multiplayer game servers actually encode messages, bitfield come up again, because often in order to squeeze, again, to make the best of bandwidth, in order to squeeze the representation of the type of message we are passing around, we use bitfield to represent different types of messages. So if we have 10 messages, we'll have, or whatever, other information representation can be kind of represented as bitfield.
So
That's
probably
awesome.
if you're a game developer and you are listening to this, you have to watch Isaac's talk. Don't miss it.
Yep, very true. Also, in the next few conferences, if Lorenzo's not spending all his time organizing, I think he'd just let us know that he'd be great for giving a talk. I'd love to see what talk you come up with. That'd be so fun.
Then we need some replacement for organizing.
Yeah, that's also true. That's there for those who are joining the streams, who have seen some faces come and go off of some streams. It takes a large team to really organize a conference well, and there are some people that are organizing that are not joining us, and it is awesome to have help doing this. It takes effort. So thanks to everyone who's still working behind the scenes. And the last talk that I really want to talk about is the building $1 billion startup with Crystal and Lucky. This is from Bruce Prenz, and that's a little bit different than translations. That's
so. First of all, Bruce knows how to throw in a catchy title, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Actually, he didn't release much information, and I think that's partly for what Lorenzo is hinting at, that he wants to keep people in suspense. Also, a very wonderful detail that most people who have not exchanged emails with Bruce is unaware of is that his signature says CEO and founder of something that I will shortly share with you, or something along the lines like that. Like everything is just a calculated piece in a puzzle that is bound to blow everyone's minds. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, with a title like that, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. There's some mentions of Lucky in there, which I really enjoyed, and a few other things. So that'll be pretty fun. if anyone is interested and they want to find out where to join the conference to hear Bruce talk about billion-dollar startups, Beta, where do they go?
Sorry, what? Come again?
Where would someone go to get a ticket and find out when the conference is?
Oh, sorry. That's www.crystal-lang.org/conference.
Perfect. And the conference date obviously is, or not obvious, but it's July 8th at 12:30 UTC. And attendees will be able to join the workshops. We have a Discord channel going. You'll be able to join the Q&As. There will be a community there talking in channels about talks, audio and chat. So if you join, you will have the ability to talk to speakers directly and also talk to other members about things that you're interested in and topics. Martin, would you like to share a little bit about the post-conference YouTube plan?
We don't have much of a plan yet, but we're looking towards sharing all the talks online and maybe kind of spend a little time editing and creating like pill-sized snaps from the conference. And there was some talk of some of the more scientific end of the spectrum talks to share some of the materials that they've based their talks on. So it's going to be a pretty interesting after show.
Awesome. And just kind of in wrapping up, if we wouldn't mind going around, what talk are you most looking forward to? And again, if someone spots you at CrystalConf, where will you be? What would you be doing? So I guess we'll start with. I think we went from left to right, so we'll start with Johannes. What talk are you most looking forward to, and where will someone spot you at CrystalConf?
Well, I'll definitely be looking for Ari's talk. It's very secretive. I know a little bit about the secret he's talking about, but it's gonna be an awesome talk, that I'm sure.
Awesome. Beta? Or where will someone see you? I'm sorry, Johannes, if they catch you at CrystalConf?
Well, probably everywhere.
Awesome. Beta?
Yeah, so it's really hard to pick, honestly. But I will probably go with Wyvern, just to see, because I know Crystal, so I want to see someone else's language. But this is a particular view on the topic. But I mean, there are many talks that are really interesting to see. And I'm going to be, probably in the Discord channel, when, I don't know, Zoom or whatever we use to questions and the like.
Awesome. Very good. Martin? Well, people will find me everywhere. People will probably find me even if they are trying to avoid me, because that will be all over the place. I think that the two that caught my attention are, of course, Bruce building a billion-dollar startup with Crystal and Lucky. I want to know what that's about. And I'm also interested in Gabor's talk and how he went from zero to a website in 30 days. That kind of looks super interesting.
Awesome. And where will you? Oh yeah, you said everywhere. And Lorenzo.
As for myself, I think I'm looking forward to the talk by Noah, which is about how to build powerful reactive web apps with Crystal and Svelte. The reason why I'm keen to watch this is Noah gave a talk at Raw Crystal 6 months ago now. And so I'd love to see how the work he was doing back then has evolved into something maybe more focused around Svelte and where that led it.
That's awesome.
People will find me on the Discord channel 100%, and I'm trying to kind of sneak into the presentation of the scientific track.
You sneak in.
Yeah. I want to be the one like standing next to the speakers.
A little bit of video editing involved. So the talk I'm most interested in is the talk that I'll actually be kind of involved with. There is Bruce Tate is going to be doing a fireside chat, and I will be hosting that. So please join us. It will be at the end of the conference, so we will round off everything, hopefully, talking about some really good subjects and surprises and Crystal and other things like that. We have a great lineup of questions, and we're going to be chatting with him. So please stay to the end and join us. We'd love to have you guys kind of join our conversation. And unknown about how all of that will wrap up. We'll have time for some more questions and things like that. But I will be staying post conference to chat in the Discord and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Please stick around. And and I'm Jack Thorne. I realized I didn't give myself an introduction in the beginning. I work with Chicago Crystal. I know, I'm not sure if anyone noticed that. We moved on, and all of a sudden I was like, uh-oh. So I work with Chicago
That's because
Crystal.
you're the more famous out of everyone here. So we just
Really?
take for granted that people know who you are.
Hopefully, yeah. If they know me, then they know Chicago Crystal. We've been doing meetups in person. We've been doing some videos and talks. We've had Ari and Kingsley and a lot of other people. We do podcasts. We're just trying to support the Crystal community, and we started in Chicago, and it was small, so we went kind of digital, and it's been very good to get feedback and get people on. We still need to get Johannes back on. The audio broke for his podcast, so after the conference, we will hopefully have more time to do some more audio and videos and podcasts. I have a lot of ideas for that network or that project, and we'd love to get some more support of the Crystal community digitally. Maybe it'll just become a Crystal podcast or something instead of Chicago Crystal. But right now it's Chicago Crystal, and it's very fun to promote the community and get people on and share their fun and desire for Crystal. So thank you everyone that joined us for the stream. It has been very fun. We went a little bit over time, but that's not a problem. And please join us at Chicago or at Crystal Conf. And Martin, do you want to lead us out with the infamous question at this point? If people have listened to this and they've decided, all right, I'm going to get work to pay for it, I'm going to come to Crystal Conf, how in the world does someone make it to Crystal Conf?
Mark their calendars for July 8th at 12:30 UTC, converted to wherever you are in your hometown, or you can crystal-blang.org/conference, and there you will see all the times adapted to your local time zone, and there you can buy your tickets, and you have a link directly to Eventbrite, and everything will be happily solved for you. So it's pretty streamlined.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, we'll see you there. Thank you, everyone.